7 things that no longer matter after the age of 70, and the reasons why letting go leads to a happier life. Advice for elderly citizens. After the age of 70, 7 things lose all of their significance. What if, after reaching the age of 70, several of the things that you have been concerned about your entire life suddenly cease to be relevant? Not because we give up, but because we finally grasp what genuinely deserves our time, our energy, and our peace of mind. Our priorities shift as we progress through the years. This is not because we give up. The kind of knowledge that comes with age is the kind that you don't receive from books or advice. Rather, it's the kind that you get by living long enough to know what truly matters and what has never mattered. We are going to discuss 7 topics that are no longer relevant after the age of 70 in this video. This is not merely a collection of philosophical concepts. These are facts that have been lived, based on experience, supported by psychological research, and echoed by senior citizens across generations. This article is for you if you have ever had the feeling of being pressured to keep up, to hold on, or to pursue things that no longer feel as meaningful to you. There is a good chance that each of these 7 things has been a source of worry at some point in your life. However, now that you are older, you no longer have to be concerned about them. This is not because you are too old to care, but rather because you have earned the freedom to let go of them. Furthermore, freedom does not imply disinterest, rather, it signifies clarity. You will have more room to appreciate what actually matters, such as your health, your purpose, your connection, and your peace, once you are aware of what no longer warrants your concern. Stay with us if you have ever wondered when life begins to feel lighter. Not because your load disappears, but because you learn how to bear it differently. This is precisely the moment when you will begin to feel lighter. It is possible that these 7 realizations will not only validate what your heart has been communicating to you, but they will also grant you the permission to move forward with the rest of your life with more grace, more confidence, and a great deal less weight than you need to carry. Let's get started. On top of that, the viewpoints of other individuals. There was a period of your life when the opinions of other people would have a great deal of significance. Whether it was the way you dressed, the job you had, the car you drove, or even the way you raced through where you earned 18 dinars. Your children's opinions could feel like a measuring stick for your worth. This could be the case regardless of the circumstances. However, after the age of 70, something within changes. You start to recognize those opinions for what they really are. The fact that they are transient, unreliable, and frequently based on the anxieties of other people rather than your own truth. You come to the realization that spending your life to please other people does not produce peace, rather, it just waits for you to find peace. Eleanor, who is now 74 years old, used to be hesitant before engaging in any activity that seemed too extreme. She was concerned that her neighbors or members of her family could criticize her decision to resume painting. She believed that they might comment on her garden. On the other hand, she found herself questioning, why does it matter what other people think anyway? One day, she was unable to shake the question, and the more she lived her life according to it, the more freedom she experienced. At this point, she dresses in vibrant colors, grows whatever she chooses, and shows her artwork, even if it is a little misorganized. What else is there to say? Nowadays, she grins more than she did when she was in her 50s. It is not necessary to become indifferent or impolite in order to let go of the need for acceptance. Respecting your own voice above the din of others is what it entails. What that implies is having the awareness that others will always have opinions, regardless of what you do, and that they will frequently forget those opinions just as fast. All that matters is how you feel about the decisions you've made. When you finally get to the point where you can lay your head down at night, at the age of 70, you have experienced enough to realize that you cannot please everyone, and that attempting to do so is a recipe for frustration. This is not about being alone, rather, it is about discovering freedom. You develop a more discriminating attitude toward the people whose opinions you let into your life, which is a positive development. Those that adore you are the ones who have the most significant opinions, not those who are only vaguely familiar with you. Regardless of what other people may think, you have the right to make decisions that are beneficial to your health, happiness, and peace of mind. This is true even if you are subject to the opinions of others. When you walk into a room without worrying about what other people are thinking about you, you have a certain kind of authority. Wisdom, not arrogance, is what you have here. The kind of self-trust that can only be learned through the passage of time. After you have had a taste of it, there is no changing your mind, because nothing is more satisfying than the realization that you are finally living your life according to your own terms, without making any excuses or requesting permission. Second, making an effort to follow current trends. It is a particular kind of pressure that floats around in our culture. The kind that whispers that you should always stay current, stay sharp, and stay with it, whether it be the most recent lifestyle, the most recent fashion, or the most recent technology. The idea is that you must keep up with the fad or you run the risk of being labeled as out of date. However, after a person reaches the age of 70, that pressure begins to lose its hold. As time goes on, you start to realize how superficial the majority of trends actually are, how quickly they come and go, and how little it is that they genuinely add to your happiness, your comfort, or your sense of personality. Harold, who was 78 years old at the time, used to wear the same clothes as everyone else. If the jeans were more snug, he would get jeans that were more snug, even when he didn't have a need to. He upgraded his phone whenever it became more intelligent. On the other hand, he did not return to reading paper books until he purchased a pair of corduroys that were quite comfortable and suited him well, due to the fact that he enjoyed the way they smelled and felt. He came to the realization that he did not care about being fashionable. At the same time, he was concerned about being at ease and being himself. And he found that change brought him more peace than any new technology ever could have. The purpose of trends is to give you the impression that you are lacking something at the moment. They create an illusion of urgency by claiming that if you do not take action right away, you will fall behind. However, after you have crossed a certain threshold in your life, you will realize that the only thing that is truly worth pursuing is that which is beneficial to you. You should wear a style that looks well on you. You should make advantage of a new tool if it makes your life easier. However, you should never feel compelled to alter your behavior, even if someone else tells you that something is the latest trend. It is still a matter of dignity to choose something that is timeless rather than trendy. Honoring your own rhythm is a powerful way to build strength. At this point, you have witnessed a sufficient number of fashions that have come full circle to be aware that what is fashionable today was not fashionable yesterday and may be out again the following year. It is no longer necessary for you to participate in that game. If you are aware of who you are and the things that make you feel comfortable in your own skin, you have already won the competition that really counts. Make sure you wear shoes that provide support for your feet. Take some time to listen to music that comforts your spirit. Do not decorate your area with what is popular but rather with things that bring you peace. Because having genuine self-assurance is not about being in the know. It's about being completely at ease in your own life without any apologies. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. The third point is feeling regret over the past. Everyone has a few instances in their lives that they wish they could go back and change. Whether it be a wasted opportunity, a harsh word spoken, or a decision that they could have handled differently, the feeling of regret is one of those companions that tends to be silent and follow us about as we go through life. However, at the age of 70, something becomes more pliable. As time goes on, you begin to view your history not as a collection of errors, but rather as a path that has brought you precisely to the place you should have been. And the more you think about it, the more you get the sense that everything you've experienced in your life, from the happiness to the sadness, has contributed to the development of your depth, your strength, and your wisdom. Walter, who was 81 years old at the time, spent years playing over a choice he had made when he was in his early 40s. Due to the fact that it would need him to relocate, he declined a job that would have paid him more, and he pondered for decades whether or not that was the best course of action. However, now that he is sitting in the same house where he brought up his children and watched his grandchildren grow up, he has a more profound understanding of things. He gained stability, presence, and a life filled with relationships that are still significant as a result of that choice. Despite the fact that it was questionable at the time, with the benefit of hindsight, something that was once a source of regret is now perceived as a blessing in disguise. The power of regret is diminished when it is confronted with compassion. You have earned the right to quit judging your younger self whenever you reach the age of 70 or beyond. At the time, that version of you was making the most of the information, resources, and emotional capacity that they possessed. They were doing the best that they could. In the same way that you wouldn't reprimand a child for not being able to perform mathematics, you can develop the ability to quit reprimanding your younger self for the things that you didn't know back then. That took place, is a statement that can be made freely. It became a lesson for me. I am still present here. It does not imply that you lack memory, that you are able to incorporate. You take the experience, the development, and the scar, and you allow it to guide your decisions at this point rather than having it punish you. Mainly due to the fact that remorse can only exist in the historical past. The events of your life are still taking place in the current moment. As you wake up each morning, you are adding a new page to your story that has not yet been written. Rather than pondering what may have been, you start to make an effort to concentrate on what is still possible. And the transition from regret to resolution is one of the most significant blessings that we receive as we become older. The past is no longer a burden that you carry around with you. You take it with you like a lamp, illuminating your path with the clarity that you have worked so hard to achieve. Compare yourself to other people, which is the fourth point. At some point in our lives, each of us will evaluate ourselves in comparison to another individual. At school, it may begin with who has higher grades, nicer clothes, and more friends than the other students. In addition, it frequently accompanies us into adulthood, determining who has the larger house, the longer marriage, and the children who are more successful on average. However, after the age of 70, the desire to compare starts to lose its hold. Eventually, you come to realize that every single person travels a route that is replete with unseen challenges and unspoken triumphs, and that no two lives are ever truly comparable to one another. Never in the voyage, never in the timing, and never in the purpose. Lois, who is now 75 years old, used to feel insignificant when she scrolled through social media. The photographs of her old acquaintances on vacation, celebrating anniversaries, and holding their grandchildren all gave her the impression that she had been missing out on something. After that, she went for a stroll in her garden one afternoon and came to the realization that she was creating a comparison between her own tranquil and meaningful life and highlight clips. Her health was good, she was free, and she had a few close pals whom she could call whenever she wanted. This moment altered her perspective on her story, causing her to see it not as missing but rather as distinctively hers. There is a thief in comparison. Not only does it take away your delight, but it also takes away your focus. It is easy to forget to look both inward and forward when you are preoccupied with looking sideways. In addition, even though the life of another person may appear to be simpler or more streamlined from the outside, you can never truly know what they are going through. It is a fact that no one is able to make it through life without experiencing adversity, loss, or regret. It is not even the people who appear to have everything under control. When you reach the age of 70, you start to understand that successful people are not those who achieve the same milestones as everyone else. Peace is the focus here. The connections that provide you with nourishment, the interests that continue to light you up, and the quiet moments that remind you of how far you've gone are all important aspects of this. Because you have experienced a sufficient number of seasons, you are aware that comparisons are usually always based on inadequate information, and that the most significant statistic is not how your life appears, but how it feels. Give other people the opportunity to experience their tales while you continue to write your own. While allowing their victories to motivate you, do not let them belittle your own journey. That you are faithful to who you are, where you are, and what is most important to you at this moment is all that is required of you. You do not need to match anyone else. I would appreciate it if you could use the 4th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. The 5th tip is to challenge your body beyond its capabilities. During the earlier decades of our lives, many of us were under the impression that we had something to prove. Whether it was our strength, our stamina, or simply our efficiency, whether it was carrying heavy things without asking for assistance, pushing through discomfort, or pretending not to feel fatigued, we frequently ignored our body's quiet need for rest in the name of pride or productivity. This could have been the case in order to accomplish something. But once you approach the age of 70, a new type of wisdom begins to settle in. One that tells you that slowing down is not a sign of weakness but rather wisdom. Doing so is not a sign of defeat but rather of respect. In addition, protecting your energy is not an act of laziness, rather, it is an act of self-preservation. In the past, Charles 80 was adamant about mowing his own lawn every week, even when the temperature was quite high. He just convinced himself that it was a healthy workout and that he was maintaining his independence. But it wasn't until he went to the doctor's office one afternoon because he was experiencing a bout of dizziness that he recognized something had changed. His body was not requesting that he quit, rather, it was requesting that he pay attention. After that, he decided to engage a young person from the neighborhood to assist him. And now he continues to take pleasure in being outside, but this time from a chair in the shade, sipping iced tea and talking about baseball while the lawn is being trimmed. It was not that he lost anything by taking a step back, rather, he found peace. The amount of weight you are able to carry, the distance you can walk without stopping, or the speed with which you recover from exertion are not factors that determine your value at this point in your life. You've spent your entire life putting your body to work to provide care for other people, to construct a house, and to earn a living. As a result, your body is deserving of your care in return. And this requires you to pay attention to the hushed voices before they become raised voices. It means not feeling ashamed of your limits and honoring them. As soon as you stop striving for the sake of appearances, you provide room for healing to manifest itself. You begin to become aware of the subtle clues that your body is giving you, and you respond with kindness rather than judgment during these moments. As you progress, you acquire the skills necessary to stretch gently, walk at your own pace, take naps when necessary, and ask for assistance without feeling embarrassed. Understanding when to take action and when to take a break is a source of strength. It is not the same thing as giving up, rather, rest is a type of engagement in your own lifespan. And pacing oneself does not mean doing less things, rather, it means accomplishing the things that are most important while maintaining presence and clarity. It is no longer necessary for you to be able to demonstrate anything to anyone, not even to yourself. You have already accomplished more than enough. And as a result, you are now entitled to travel through life with ease, grace, and a heart that is absolutely full. Keeping a grudge is the 6th point on the list. Despite the fact that it is buried deep, resentment nevertheless carries a certain quantity of weight. It stays in the background, coloring your thoughts, depleting your vitality, and keeping sections of your heart closed up because of its presence. It is possible that, when you are younger, harboring resentment can feel like a type of protection. It may seem as though you are protecting yourself from being wounded again by maintaining your anger. On the other hand, by the time you reach the age of 70, you begin to understand how much those old wounds cost you, and all of a sudden, the amount of effort that is required to maintain anger does not appear to be worth it anymore. When they were both in their 50s, Phyllis, who is now 79 years old, and her sister had a disagreement. Over time, the specifics became less clear, but the distance stayed the same. Every time the family got together, there was tension and courteous avoidance. This went on for years. On the other hand, Phyllis decided to pick up the phone after a recent operation brought to her attention the precarious nature of life. The conversation lasted for an hour, during which time they did not discuss the past but rather their grandchildren, their gardens, and their recollections. The call did not completely remove everything, but it helped smooth off the rough spots. They had not had peace in years, yet it brought them both peace. Just because you have let go of a grudge does not indicate that you are okay with what took place. Making the decision that your tranquility is more important than your agony is what it means. Having this realization involves acknowledging that forgiveness is not always about the other person, but rather for you, and this is due to the fact that when you harbor resentment for an extended period of time, it starts to occupy space that could be filled with happiness, connection, and healing. In letting go of long-held resentment, there is release. There is a sense of relief that comes from making the decision to refrain from mentally rehearsing that old conversation one more time. People are flawed and complicated, and they frequently injure others from their own places of suffering. You start to realize this as you progress through life, and while this does not justify the severity of the damage, it does explain it, not for their benefit, but for your own. It helps you become more palatable. Reconciliation is not always necessary for forgiveness to take place. In some cases, it is sufficient to just state, "I am finished carrying this and I will now set it down." Give yourself permission to go forward without dragging the burden of the past behind you. This is what it means to give yourself permission. At this point, you have more important things to bear, such as love, hope, joy, and curiosity. Moreover, such things flourish in a heart that is not entangled in the suffering of the past. I would appreciate it if you could use the 6th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. The 7th mistake is rushing to reach the deadline set by another person. As we go through life, we are constantly reminded that there is a timetable that we are expected to adhere to. You should graduate by this age. You should have settled down by that age. You should retire by this age. And you should have found love by this age. The majority of us have experienced feelings of pressure to perform this script. And if we were unable to meet those deadlines, we frequently experienced a sense of being behind, as if we had somehow squandered our opportunity. However, at the age of 70, the entire framework begins to disintegrate. You start to realize how fabricated those deadlines actually were. And you realize how much joy there is outside of the schedule that you have created for yourself. Last year, Henry, who is now 82 years old, began taking piano lessons, but he never had the time or the nerve to begin playing. Despite the fact that he had always desired to, his concern was that he would be either too slow, too stiff, or just too late. However, from this point forward, each morning, his fingers glide across the keys with a wobbly determination and a hidden pride. He is not concerned in becoming an expert in it. The music, the curiosity, and the sensation of doing something just for himself are all things that are important to him. And this is what gives it its stunning appearance. At the age of 70, you first become aware of the fact that nothing significant in life has a time limit attached to it. These are things that do not cease because of a number. Love, learning, creativity, and healing are all examples. When given the opportunity, they grow. And the fact of the matter is that rushing toward the image of success that someone else has just serves to divert your attention away from finding your own. It doesn't matter if you want to begin a new pastime, get a relationship back together, or take a leap of faith. The timing is ideal if it seems right to you right now. It is not the same thing as giving up when you let go of the race. Awakening is what it means. Having the realization that the most satisfying chapters of your life may yet be unwritten when you first find yourself awake. That the outline of your tale does not have to be identical to that of anyone else in order for it to be important. In addition, the young are not the only ones who can experience joy, growth, and discovery. It is only available to those who are willing. Do not inquire about if it is too late if there is something that has been pulling at your heart. What you should do is ask, is this still calling me? However, if the response is yes, then it is significant, and if it is important to you, then that is plenty. You are not falling behind. As you write a life that respects your own pace, your own desires, and your own truth, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Lastly, some thoughts. Let us pause for a moment and think on the 7 topics that we have discussed as we come to the end of this video. Which of these seemed to be familiar? Which ones allowed you to take a few deep breaths and relieve some of your stress? To treat yourself with a bit more compassion? There is a possibility that you are aware that you have already let go of some of these. It's also possible that this is the first time you've ever realized how much weight you've been dragging about that isn't required. Whatever the case may be, there is no better moment than the present to reduce the burden. It is not the end of life after the age of 70. This is a wake-up call, a reawakening to your own voice, your own requirements, and your own patterns of behavior. This is the moment when you stop pursuing things that aren't beneficial to you and begin to value the things that are beneficial to you. You have not achieved this tranquility by avoiding adversity, rather, you have achieved it by persevering through it. You have arrived at this point of clarity as a result of each and every action that you have taken, including the ones that you debated. It is not the same thing as becoming indifferent when you let go of things that are irrelevant. It is about making a conscious decision to be present rather than feeling pressured, choosing delight rather than judgment, and choosing depth rather than distraction. In addition, the more you accept it, the more space you will create in the years to come for connection, purpose, and meaning in your activities. So, as you move forward, bear in mind that you do not have to keep up with the pace. There is no reason for you to look back. All that is required of you is to be here, totally present, 100% of who you are, and completely open to what is ahead. The reason for this is because the things that no longer matter have made room for the things that do matter. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.